Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Hemmy Yona. I'm leading the Ad Services product development team at Imperva. Together alongside with me is Gil Osovsky, Customer Success Manager.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Nice to have you.
We are here to talk today about why security at the edge is still a priority in 2021 and to present the new DNS products that we have just released. So why is edge security still so important in 2021? When digital transformation is refocusing security efforts on bot attack, API security, and the fraud detection, edge security might seem to be less of a priority. But that is far from the truth. Let me tell you some of the reasons why edge security should remain a top priority for security teams. First, it's one of the areas that is still heavily targeted by attackers. Second, the edge is the gateway to your network, your databases, and data centers. Third, we want to block the attack at the edge, as close to the attacker as possible, to cause the least collateral damage to your critical assets as possible. Now, even if your sensitive data and applications are in the public cloud, we are, Imperva, the leading cloud WAF provider in the industry in terms of our SLA and mitigation capabilities. Imperva offers the full range of edge security solutions, including DDoS for networks, DDoS for applications, DDoS for DNS, security CDN, DNS security, and now available is Managed DNS, which is what we are going to show you today. But before we will look more closely at the new DNS service, let's talk a little about what DNS challenges organizations are facing. 79% of organizations were hit by a DNS attack in 2020. This is based on the IDC Global DNS Threat Report for 2020. 82% consider business downtime the most impacting factor. And the average cost of a DNS attack is just under $1 million. DNS attacks have featured quite heavily in the news last year or two, also with telecom provider being a key target for these attacks. AWS, Amazon Web Services, were also the victim of large DNS attack back in 2019, which entailed an 8-hour distributed denial of service, DDoS, attack on its Route 53 DNS server. The outage impacted the websites of thousands of AWS customers. So DNS attacks are something to take very seriously. And at the end of the day, a DNS attack means loss of business with devastating impact on brand value to your customers, your business partners, on your revenue, and even on your company stock price. All aspects of your business are impacted, especially if you rely on having a consistent, reliable web presence to facilitate everything you do. The new Managed DNS service complements our existing DDoS protection for DNS. If we look at the two offerings side by side, with DDoS protection for DNS, Imperva serves as a DNS proxy, where all DNS queries are first processed by Imperva to filter out DDoS attacks and respond to legitimate requests before being forwarded to your origin name servers. With this solution, your DNS service is hosted outside of Imperva. The new Managed DNS service relieves our customers of the burden of managing and securing their DNS service in-house. With 45 points of presence, our global infrastructure guarantees enhanced response time and uninterrupted operational uptime. To enhance our edge security offering, Imperva is expanding its DNS protection with the addition of a new secure and fully cloud-based Managed DNS service, removing the need for customers to manage and secure their DNS service in-house or on other service. The new enhanced offering will improve response times, ensure operational uptime of your websites, applications, and APIs, as well as reducing cost of on-premise DNS solutions. Now, when we all understand why this service is so important, let's see it. We will start with onboarding a DNS. So I'm logging into my portal, and I'm logging as a account. Yes, so we are also showing it's the new ad services, the new my look and feel, and on the new, what we can see on the navigation on the upper side is the edge services, where you can see the network protection, network DDoS, edge service, edge protection, IP protection, and the DNS protection. So we are starting with protected DNS zone. When I'm going to this protected DNS zone, I can see this DNS zones that are already on the service. Okay, and now let's assume that I want to add, first of all, a DNS zone. So when I'm pressing the add, there are two options open. One is the Managed DNS Zone that I will show later on, and add Proxy DNS Zone. So I'm pressing. First thing that I need to do to add the DNS zone name. So for this example, we'll do a webinar demo proxy. And go to the advanced settings. At the advanced settings, there are actually some settings that you can choose. First is which DNS mode you want to work with. The first one is the default, that is a regular operation of the proxy DNS, where all the requests come to Imperva and we answer them. Block means if you want that all the queries to your DNS zone will not be answered. And bypass, this is in case that you don't want us, Imperva, to be a proxy and all the requests will be directly answered by your origin. By default, you will need to stay on the default side, mode. Then, if you look at the security, there are some rate limiting configuration, like maximum incoming query rate, weight limit on lower and the upper threshold for the outgoing queries, which is the weight of the queries that goes from our POPs, point of presence, to your origin name server. After crossing the lower threshold, normal request will not be served by your origin, and only the records that are written at the safe record names will be served from your origin. All others will be served from our caching. Now, if you have another record to add, for example, mail dot your zone file, you can also edit and you can delete if something is not needed, okay, and duplicate.
Just to emphasize, Hemmy, this is like the known domain, subdomain for the same domain that I can add in order to have it more safe query.
Correct. Like www, mail, this is the most common record types, names. Another configuration that you need to do on the onboarding is to update the origin NS record, which means we are serving your origin NS, and we need to know what are the name servers names. So in this example, I'm just adding something NS1, like incap, blah, blah, save it, and sorry, and I save it, and I have all the configuration already updated. Now, the domain is saved on our databases, but it's not operating. What we need to do is to validate two steps. First steps is we're asking you to update the text record with this record name and this value to make sure that you are really the owner of this domain. Second, now since we are the proxy of your origin name server, we need your registrar to point to our name server so we can serve you. After completing these two steps, you will be on the service. So after updating it, you can check the configuration, but since this is not a real zone file, and I didn't do anything with the text record, neither the NS record, nothing changed, but when we'll do it, you get a green banner and everything will be okay. So just here I will push and make the DNS changes later. So that's it. We have this proxy DNS on the service. You can see that the type is proxy DNS, the origin name server, and its status, which is pending domain validation. After this, the zone is on our service. You can go back there, again, check the status. And here there are also operations that you can do. You can purge the cache or purge a specific resource. For example, if you want to update only specific the A record of mail, you can purge it and it will clean the cache. So this is about how we are adding proxy DNS. Now I'll show how to add a managed DNS. So I go back to the add managed DNS. And we have two options. One is using a byte format file, okay, which I will show later on, and the manual entry. So we start with the manual entry. The DNS zone name will be, let's say, hemmy.com. The DNS zone owner, I will add the email of me. This is for the SOA record. And now I can start adding records to my DNS zone. So I can choose the record type, A, quadro A, and some other common DNS type. Let's say, in this example, I will choose the type A. I can choose the TTL. Okay, we have various of time and custom. I will keep the default value. Host, let's say it's a demo. It points to some IP. Specific IP, and description, I can edit something like this record is for the demo, okay? And I can see it here with the description, the TTL, and all the parameters that I already add. I can add more and more this kind of record, and I can delete and duplicate. For example, I have the same record, but it's in type text record. Okay, so I just need to update here and do something like ABC 1, 2, 3. Record is for demo text value. That's it. We have it here. And if we push the advanced settings, there are some security settings that you can configure. First, if you somehow want to block this DNS zone, it's very simple. We have some parameter for rate limiting. TTL, you can change the default. I showed you before that it was 1 hour. I can change it. And also the negative caching TTL value for answer that we don't know answer. So how long to keep this answer on cache. And that's it. I can save it. And I got to the same step like on Proxy DNS when I need to make sure that this is your domain. So again, I need to add the text record and the DNS validation. So now you can see this new domain, which is a managed DNS, and it's still pending domain validation. Now, when I go to this domain, I can also download its DNS zone. Okay, so I download it locally to my computer. Go back, and what I will do, I will delete it. Okay, so we are not seeing anymore the Hemmy. And now, using the bind format, I can add the managed DNS service using this file. Okay, upload the file, hemmy.com, open it. We validate that the bind format is okay. Go next. And we have all the record that we already had with these values already on the service, and that's it. We are there. So now, until now, I show you how to add, edit, and delete both DNS types. So okay, now we are on the service. Let's see some goodies. Now I'll show you how the dashboard looks like. So now I will go to another account, which is our Incapsula account, where we show you can see a specific DNS zone, or you can choose to see in account level. I'm choosing all the assets, okay? And you can choose the time frame that you want to see. The default is 7 days, but we can ask, let's say, for 30 days. And now we get some information and statistics about your DNS. So first of all, you get the total queries per second, peak and average. Same for the blocked queries, same peak and average. At the bottom, you can see the graph over time, where you can see the blocked in red and passed in green. And you can also filter, just see how many were passed, how many were blocked. Hovering it over it will show the values point by on each time. On the right side, another interesting information that you can see is where the queries came from around the world. We have it for when we are using a website cloud graph, but for DNS it's less likely. But here we found it very interesting, for example, to see how many queries come to mail.your zone file. So it's something very interesting, where in green dots you can see the past request, and on red, the blocked. Hovering over it, you can see the values. If we scroll down, we can see during this time frame, the last 30 days, the events, the DDoS events that you got on your domain. So the domain, the DNS zone, the type, which here it's only proxy, but it could be also managed, when it starts, and its duration, which attack type is it, which now it's volumetric, but we're adding more and more granularity to this column. How many queries per second, peak and average. And later on, I will show what is the analyze. On the bottom, there are some top statistics that can be very helpful for you as a DNS operator. For example, which are the records that mostly used. Okay, so in this case, this record has 18.4 million queries. So you can see that this is a very requestable record. In the center, you can see which records are blocked. So we can understand that for this record, we blocked some of the queries and how much. On the right side, although it's empty, we can see a very interesting information. It's the top DNS record with no data. It means that this record that shown here got requested, but we don't have it on our system. So for you, it will be very helpful to understand a scenario. One scenario can be, let's say, application is querying a specific record, but we forgot to add it to the service. So this record will be shown here, and for you, it will be very fast and easy to understand that it's missing and update this record. Now let's see what is analyze attack. So let's assume that I'm interested in this specific attack. So I press it. I'm going specific to this domain, which is incapsula.com, a specific domain. I can see again the statistic over this time period, which, sorry, I forgot. At the first line, we can see a short summary about the attack. It was a volumetric DDoS attack, the duration, and the time that it occurred. How many queries were blocked, again, peak and average. You can see it over the time. Again, you can filter and hover. On the right side, you can see where the attack came from. We can see in this case that the attack came from United States, while 50% of the requests were passed, 85% were blocked. Okay, some interesting information to know. Again, we can see the same top records during this attack. And also for this analysis, we had also the top source IP that were part of this time frame, so it can help you better understand where the attack came from and what it caused. Okay, so the dashboard is a new tool that can help you very much with your analysis. Last thing that I want to show is our API. Both Proxy DNS and Managed DNS has full RESTful API support. A documentation portal, you can see all the API that you can use. You can retrieve the attacks on specific the specific attack information, get, add, post domains, and add some records for managed DNS, even purge case, so you can fully automate your operation with our DNS using these APIs. Also on this portal, on the same area, you can get full documentation about everything I described till now about the DNS protection, how to onboard the DNS protection, edit DNS zone, same for a Proxy DNS zone, and the explanation about the DNS protection dashboard. That is for the demo. If you want, you can. I will stop the share if you have some question before we go to Gil.
Hi, Hemmy. Just before you stop sharing, in case you need it, we've had two questions. Actually, I'll just read them here for you. Could you give some examples of L7 DNS attacks that Proxy DNS can handle?
So we have some attacks like cache poisoning that we are handling, and some more attacks. It can
DNS Flat as well.
Sorry?
DNS Flat is, it's a layer 7 attack. Mm-hmm. Usually it's like query unknown domain, which actually going to keep busy the server itself until it's going to be DDoS. So proxy is definitely, Proxy DNS is definitely something that actually being covered here by setting also the thresholds, the amount of requests can be per minute, and also to add like a whitelist resource that can be handled in a much more secure way. Other than that, if it's unknown, to keep the server busy, we have also the limitation in the number of requests we're going to forward to the name server itself, to the original one.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you. There was another question. Do you support zone transfer?
So we are right in the middle of testing it. We already started developing it. And it will be around the I believe in the first half of this year. I don't know specifically, but this is the plan, yes.
Sorry, just one quick addition to that question there before you get started there, Gil. What about DNSSEC?
DNS, you mean DNSSEC. So it's something for managed DNS. It's something that we already started to support it, and for the Proxy DNS, we already supporting it. So it should come around the same time with zone transfer.
Perfect. Thanks.
Let me start here. So when you finish.
So until Gil, I will explain a little bit about DNSSEC, which is actually in order to it's a protocol between the DNS resolver and the managed DNS or the proxy to make sure that the response is coming really from the right DNS server, okay, to authenticate.
Okay, so right when first of all, thank you, Hemmy, for the wonderful demonstration. It's the first time I see it in real time. So thank you very much. We waited for so long for this feature release, so happy to take part of that. So just to recap, from customer perspective now, after having this demo, all this information, how to onboard, how to use the API, as Hemmy just mentioned, this is something that's actually available in our docs already. And you can go ahead and click about what is the service description, what is the difference between the services, and also what are the API functionality for that matter. So going into a recap a little bit about what is the advantage of the managed services itself. So it's actually provide like a full domain protection for your assets. First of all, from the two-way itself, from the proxy, and also for the managed service, for the managed DNS itself. And this is something that can bring more confident in uninterrupted and optimal operation uptime. And that's actually something that also be part of the general or the full platform that we're actually offering from the security perspective. So the DNS itself is providing a security aspects for layer 3 and 4 DDoS mitigation, layer 7 DDoS and DNS. This is something that it's built in, and for many years in our platform, this is the advantage we're taking also here in the DNS feature. It's a single stack integration. DNSSEC support, as Hemmy just mentioned, this is the roadmap for this feature. However, for the proxy, it's already there. Role-based access, we can take all the advantages that we all have in the platform itself. And of course, the SSO to keep it secure as much as possible. Of course, there is like a cost saving, unified vendors handling all the security in one place. This is a great advantage that we can offer. Also, protect the DNS, protect the domain, protect websites, protect other assets from DDoS itself in one place, in the same console management that we have, and make it a great solution for every organization. Now, in Fast integration, as always, as if you've seen, onboarding and how we integrate this service with other services with Imperva. So over here, we are using the global IP Anycast. So actually, something that is very robust in our network. We're using the mesh SDN edge routing that we actually can control where are the loads and how we can benefit from the total network that we have worldwide. And of course, there is the mechanism about how to do the automation of capacity and planning. And of course, the layer 7 itself. So in total, we have the network, we have the capability of the security all in one place and taking the advantage of the already proven product that we have. So going a little bit about DDoS, what are the offering for the DDoS itself? So we have the traditional web application DDoS, which actually protect for application layer 7 and also network. through DDoS protection for website, we call it. Now we have the DNS server that's actually providing also DDoS protection for the application itself from the layer 3 and 4 attacks on the DNS and the name server itself. So another good solution for DDoS. And we have the DDoS protection for networks, which is you can actually full coverage of everything in one place. It's actually, you can divert full ranges, multiple services in one place, and we're going to protect it from layer 3 and 4 DDoS. Of course, the DDoS protection is coming also with on-demand in case for some reason there is no need to divert all the time traffic. And we have this individual IP that you don't want to protect always on the whole range, and you choose to do it for a specific IP in order to be on the safe side all the time. And this is actually the value of the individual IPs. As we are doing it, you know, for quite for sometimes we have like millions. The idea of, you know, behind the Imperva global network is to let good traffic to let go through the network as close to the client itself, and also to block it to block the traffic in case it's malicious. And this is something that we are doing for every minute. We are actually blocking more than 3 million packets, which were actually identified as a bad or malicious from our end. And of course, our super SLA, which provide a great ability with stability of our network, and our 45 presence worldwide. While this year we're going to also have another 3 babies coming in. Denver, Santiago, and Dublin are going to join us this year. So it's going to be a much more scalable and much more distributed network worldwide. Thank you, guys. We're going to open now the session for questions. So Sarah, Hemmy.
Yeah. We've had another one in the chat here that Hemmy has kindly answered, but I think it's worth just for the group to ask that again. It was, does DNS protection provide DNS caching or any kind of acceleration? Hemmy, do you want to just cover what you said there as well?
Yes. So as about the DNS, the Proxy DNS is based on caching. So all the requests that actually, all the queries that arrives to us, we check it if we have it in our caching and serve it. If not, we are querying the origin and responding and save it at the cache. So this caching mechanism all over our POPs, point of presence, accelerate the service since the response come more closely to the resolver, to the DNS query.
Great. Thanks, Hemmy. Please feel free to keep putting more questions in. I have a couple of questions that we've gathered that are commonly asked around this topic. So I'm just going to ask you guys these now while we have you here. But as I say, anyone else has any additional questions, please put them in the chat. Oh, we've got one just popped up. DOH brackets DNS over HTTPS is supported?
Not at this time. It's something on our roadmap, but it's not something that we support today.
Okay.
Same for the DOT.
Thank you, Hemmy.
Yeah.
Another question, what is the difference between Proxy DNS and Managed DNS?
Okay, I will take that. We can,
Hemmy, I think it will be good to maybe to go to the slide over there. It actually demonstrates very well.
Yeah, this is what, thank you. This is what I'm trying to do.
So while Hemmy is actually doing the presentation, the new service, the Managed DNS, is actually, you don't need to have a DNS vendor, DNS service. This is something that Imperva will do on behalf of you. While having a proxy one, you'd still need to maintain an origin DNS name server for you in order to make the right, this is actually the proxy functionality. Here it is.
Okay. So as Gil described, so at the left side, it's the managed DNS, and the right side is proxy DNS. So all the requests arrives to our point of presence to mitigate the DDoS attacks, and then forward it to our DNS service, which is also on our point of presence. Sorry. So everything is on our CDN network, on our POPs. On proxy, all the requests arrives to us. We are doing all the DDoS mitigations. Then it comes to our machines, on DNS machines, and checking if the response on our cache. If yes, we served it. Else, we're querying the DNS, the origin DNS server. So the DNS server is outside of our CDN. It's not managed by us, and the zone admin, whenever we need to update something, so we need to update it on his DNS server, whether it's on-prem or other service. And here it's everything on our portal. Okay, so these are the difference. Here it's on our service. Here it's outside of our service.
So basically, the two differences between the proxy and the managed DNS is on the new service, which is the managed DNS. We're actually offering a new service on top of our security and network. We do offer now a DNS service for our customer to have everything in the same console management, control the DNS, control the website, and also be protected from DDoS itself.
The next question that came through was, what is sizing parameters for managed DNS and proxy DNS? Has that been covered, or?
So currently it's part of the Flex Protect packages. And I think as part of the Flex Protect packages, each account is entitled for 10 DNS entities. Entities can be or DNS managed or proxy. So if it's not enabled or doesn't appear in your subscription page, please reach out to the account executive so we can take it. You can take it further with him.
Okay, great. And there are trial options available as well for people who maybe aren't customers as yet. Is that correct, Gil?
Yeah. So trial is always an option.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is something that needs to be managed also with sales, but this is something that, of course, this is for existing customer, we do often a trial. Again, please reach out to the sales team or the account teams, it can be also a CSM, so we can take it further to evaluate that.
And if a customer already uses the application DDoS solution, does that mean they'll automatically have the DNS protection, or is that not the case?
So it's a different packages between the DDoS and the DNS itself. Again, it depends what is the package the customer actually have, but mainly it's a different packages in that matter. As I mentioned, Flex Protect does include 10, but if you want to add more, it's add-on, but as a base for others packages, I think it's a different package.
Okay, thanks for that. We've had another question come in. Does this service support TCP and UDP for DNS?
The answer is yes. We support both.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I think that's all the questions for now. If anyone, I'll just give it a second in case anyone else has anything there. But just to remind you all that we have been recording this webinar, and it will be posted again on community. So pop along there to find it and share it with your colleagues if it's something you think they'll find useful. And if you have any additional questions, I'm sure that after this maybe more questions will come up. Please feel free to post them on the community directly, and we'll be sure to pick that up there, or get in touch with us directly if you need to. There'll be a little bit of maintenance in the community over the next couple of days. Just it's still there, but maybe some of the functionality won't be where it usually is. So please, again, feel free to reach out to me if there's anything that you need urgently on that. And I'd just like to say thank you to Gil and Hemmy. That was great, really informative. And thanks to the rest of everyone for joining. It's been a really great session. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Our
Take
pleasure.
care. Bye.
Bye-bye.